What up, what up? Welcome to the Live and Thrive. No longer 2025. We in 2026, so now we gotta come up with a fix for our saying. Cause no more Ive vowel sounds. The X vowel sound is in. What are we gonna do with that? The flicks, shooting the flicks in 96? Something like that. Something like that, bro. But what up, what up? Welcome, welcome. It's the man in the West. Noise over silence, no one's similar. No one's son. North over south, north or south. Nero, Matthew, Matt. Whatever you want to call it. But I'm here. And today I will be reading from random books because that's what I have in mind. I was just on YouTube Live. I've never actually clicked on the YouTube Live tab because I do this all the time, but I've never really watched other YouTube Lives, and I wanted to see what it was like out there in the YouTube Live-averse. And pretty much everything that YouTube tried to have me watch had 1,000 people in the chat. At least I was like, damn, people are out here with 1,000 people in their chat. I can't imagine. And they was just talking about it. Most people were talking about like politics. There's some really cool setups out there. There's one girl had like an anime avatar who was like filtered over her. That was pretty fucking cool. I wanted to ask her how she does that shit, but she had like 15,000 people in her chat. So I was like, she's not even going to see this message. I wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't mind having 15,000 people in the chat, but goddamn, like, no, it doesn't even, having a chat becomes pointless at that point. Smart Savvy, what's good? Welcome, welcome. I'm doing my best, Mrs. Clayton. What's up? What's up? I'm doing good. I feel good. I'm in good spirits. The energy is good. Yeah. Before I started this shit, I was feeling a little weird because I guess I was like stuck in this comparison mode. I went on there just to educate myself because I've never actually seen other people YouTube live, and I wanted to see what it was like, see what it was about. And I did that for like the past 30 minutes, and I was like, wow, the world is so big. YouTube is so big, and it could be fun. Everybody has a mic, everybody has headphones. I don't really do that yet. Looking forward to the day when I do have like the mic and the headphone and like the backdrop with the fucking. But just because I don't doesn't mean that I'm not about to go live. That's not about to happen. You know what I mean? I can't wait for that. We still here. In the mean between time, I'm about to get some music going. But what's up with y'all? How was y'all last couple of days? Smart Savvy, Mrs. Clayton. Anything new? Anything pertinent? Anything powerful you want to share? Okay. Oh yeah, Happy New Year. I forgot. We are officially in 2026 now. So happy Gregorian New Year to you. I hope this year has already started out better than last year. Do this? Why do I always have trouble finding my things that I like? Instead of just showing me the things that I like. I don't get it. Oh, saved. That's where we gotta go. There we go. Now we have tunes. Put it right here. Seed shopping, that's what it is. Where do you get your seeds from? I suppose not Amazon. There's probably a bunch of organic heirloom seed shops out there in the world. You want to plug them for all the rest of the people who come in and want to do the sowing of the seeds this year? Speaking of seeds, man, I have some cannabis seeds that are like 4 or 5 years old. Do you think that they're still good? I wonder, because I remember they were worth a pretty penny when I first had them. But if they're not good anymore, it would be such a shame. Unseen, what's good? Hola, ¿cómo estás ustedes? Love Song Desmond got some new joints coming out. That's what it is. Where's he dropping them? Where's he dropping them? Let us know so we can go give him a listen. Probably SoundCloud. I know everybody do the SoundCloud thing. Mrs. Jones, what's up? Long time no see. Welcome to the chat. You have been sorely missed. Oh. Yeah, happy Gregorian New Year and all of that. What else we got? Not much. Oh, maybe my phone will work and I can show you some powerful. Oh yeah, random readings. That's what I'm doing. Random readings. Let me go get those. Alright, boom. Oh! Okay, saved. Almost lost my whole dang laptop. Lo estoy haciendo increíble. ¿Y tú? Y mucho mujer que tú. That's one of my favorite sayings. It makes me sound authentically Latin. But, also, I'm not trying to put you down either by saying I'm doing much better than you. Just trying to be funny. You got a few spots local, but you also buy from M.I. Gardner. That's what it is. That's what's up. So I've got 5 books. I've randomly picked 5 books out of my old. What's this? Aww. So cool when you find bookmarks in your old books. So I picked 5 books randomly out of the old bookshelf. I'm gonna start with Sherlock Holmes, then we're gonna take it to the Tao Te Ching. Then we're gonna go to Mr. Marcus. Who would have known that Mr. Marcus ever would have wrote a book, but he did, and I have it. Then we're gonna go do some philosophy, and after that, we're gonna close the night out with an unsolved mystery. I know there's nobody knocking on the door. I don't know. It might not be. So this book is called The Sherlock Holmes Puzzle Collection, and I really love this book because it's like a bunch of mind games. One that I know off the top of my head is I hope that you get this, Mrs. Clayton, because you have the mind for it. It's a riddle. It goes: there's a house. In all four windows, it's a house. It's a house on a hill, and it's a regular shaped house, like a square house, and every wall has a window, but all windows face in the same direction. Where is the house? What you say, very? I said mucho mujer que tú. That means much better than you. I used to say that all the time to my friends at school when they asked me how I was doing. So it just rolls off the tongue. Oh, all right. I got a good one too. So the answer to that riddle, Mrs. Clayton, is the house is in the North Pole. Because if the house is at the tip of the North Pole, there's only one direction the windows can technically face, which is south, I guess. But you could probably pick that apart. I have another one for you. This one's called A Matter of Identity. It's a nice little riddle. You ready? The riddle goes like this. As we were walking through Regent's Park one afternoon, here's a picture to give you a sense of the setting. As we were walking through Regent's Park one afternoon on our way to St. John's Wood, Holmes drew my attention to a pair of young women engaged in earnest conversation with a somewhat older man. Observe those ladies, Watson. Can you tell me about them? Or he says, what can you tell me about them? And Watson says, I studied them closely. They were as alike as peas in a pod, identical in facial structure, deportment, dress, and I don't even know this word. Kafir? Wow, they got me. They stumped me with a word. Who knows what this word is right here? Kafir? Kafirs? I've never seen this word in my life. Oh, the phone is dead. Trash. Sorry for the sidetrack. Gotta figure out what this word means. Coiffure. The definition. Oh, a hairstyle. How do you pronounce it? Coiffure is how you pronounce it. Okay. So I studied them closely. They were alike as peas in a pod, identical in facial structure, deportment, dress, and coiffure. Coiffure. That's how you spell coiffure. You've never even seen that word. Don't front. Where's it at? Right here. You've never seen that word before. Coiffure. I said as much to my companion and asserted that they surely had to be twins. Indeed. Holmes looked amused. For a fact, I can tell you that Louise and Lisa Barnes share the same mother, the same father, and the same precise day of birth. But I'm afraid you are utterly wrong. They are most certainly not twins. Can you explain? Oh, Mrs. Clayton got it. Springing questions after spoken isn't working out for me. So what's the answer to that riddle? If they're not twins, what are they? To look so similar. Man, I love this book. This book is deep. Anybody got the answers? I'll give you 10 seconds. I'll give you the answer, and then we'll get into the Tao Te Ching, aka Tao Te Ching. I don't really know how you're supposed to pronounce that. Oh, yeah. Doop. Okay, I just turned on all the messages. No, we're not doing that. No, there we go. Get that out of here. All right, so the answer to the riddle is they're not twins because they are just two parts of a group of triplets. That's why they're not twins, because they're actually triplets. So it's quite elementary, as my man Sherlock would say. All right, Tao Te Ching, another one of my favorite books. I'm just gonna randomly flip to something that Confucius said. I just found this. One of my old studios. So I randomly flipped to verse 74. My man Confucius is... Right? Confucius is... No, Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu is the author, not Confucius. My bad. Verse 74 is ruling by fear. Gives the visual. People do not fear death when they are forced to live in hopeless misery. Thereby, the executioners are no threat to fearless rebels who dare to make trouble. They might even execute the executioners. When people do fear death, they do not defy the executioners at first. But how long can the killings go on before those who fear death also become fearless? Then they too might execute the executioners. By that time, the only ones left who might serve as the executioners would be the people themselves. However, it is said that those who hew wood in place of skilled carpenters are likely to cut their own hands. It is said that those who hew wood in place of skilled carpenters are likely to cut their own hands. I'm having trouble trying to figure out if that's deep or not. I think it is. Because on one hand, Lao Tzu is saying, basically, people who don't fear death, when they're forced to live in hopeless misery for so long, they are so unafraid that they develop the ability to execute the executioners. And when that happens, they find the people who executed the executioners find themselves as the new executioners. But it is said that those who hew wood in place of skilled carpenters are likely to cut their own hands. So then he's saying once they become the new executioners, they hurt themselves. because they don't know how to execute right, properly. Anyway, that's my interpretation of it. And maybe he's saying when they hurt themselves, it could just be like another way of looking at how every time you hurt yourself, or every time you go out and you hurt someone else, you're also hurting yourself vicariously through them, because we're all one. I think that's what he might be saying. What do you guys think about my man Lao Tzu saying, rule by fear is not really a good thing? Because when you rule people by fear, they become fearless at a certain point. Facts. I always like pick up an old dry leaf and put it in my books when I'm out in nature reading them. All right. This one is going to be an interesting one. I mean, they're all interesting, but I forgot that I dead had this book. I bought this book when I was like 22 or something. I remember I was in my early 20s when I was into buying books like this. The Porn Star's Guide to Great Sex by Mr. Marcus. Shout out to if you know who Mr. Marcus is. And if you don't, look him up. Oh, here's a picture of Mr. Marcus. Yeah, Mr. Marcus used to be like an idol of mine back in the day. I was like, I want to do what he does. All right, so let's flip to a random page in Mr. Marcus's book. Actually, I'm gonna give you guys a preview of the table of contents, and let's pick a chapter. Miss Jones said, "Now we're talking." Funny. Ola was good. Happy New Year. I'm always trying to bring fresh energy to the chat, I didn't know what I was going to do today. I really have nothing to talk about, but I have plenty of books. And from books, we get things to talk about. So I already hit Lao Tzu with the Tao Te Ching. The first book was a Sherlock Holmes puzzle collection, which I'm sure your smart ass would love if you're into puzzles and mind games and shit like that. So the first one is A Sexual Life, second chapter. Oh yeah, but now we're reading a book by Mr. Marcus. And I guess if you know who Mr. Marcus is, you're kind of dating yourself, because he's probably been out of commission since like the 2000s. All I know is that's when I stopped watching that type of a media, and like the 2008 era or whatever. Anyway, so we're gonna read one of these pages or excerpts from one of these chapters, and I'm gonna give you the chapters and allow you to decide which chapter should we jump into. All right, the first one is A Sexual Life. Sounds pretty boring, but it's probably a good introduction of what he's trying to accomplish here in this book. Second one is Someone for Everyone. Third one is What Men Want. Fourth is What Women Want. 5 is The Art of Kissing. Next is The Joy of Oral Sex. The next one is Masturbation. The next one is Woodwork. The next one is Positions. Doing the Butt. We're going to scratch out that one. I've never been interested in doing the butt. But I know a lot of people are, but I'm not really interested in that at all. The Freak Factor, the Tie Me Up and Spank Me, Toys and Equipment, High Performance Sex, De-Stress for Great Sex, and Your Sexual Health. Does anybody have any requests? If not, I'm gonna just flip to a random ass page. I'm gonna give you like 10 seconds. Mr. Marcus dedicated this book to everyone who's ever spent time thinking about sex way more than they should, and to his family and friends who shook their heads but still gave me a handshake, a hug, or a smile. I appreciate your support. Definitely, this book is for you. Wow, imagine being like an adult film star and then people be asking you, yo, what do you do for life? You probably just go to only smile like, I fuck for a living. This nigga starred in over 1,000 original feature films in 10 years. What a life. Mrs. Clayton said, the first, Miss Jones said, any of them. Wow, this is a deep chapter. All right, it's the first one is the first one is 11 pages. But the font is pretty big, the words are spaced out. I think we could get it done. So here's the first page. Bloop. Got some nice graphics in there. Several years ago, a married couple introduced themselves to me at a local convention and told me how much they loved my movies. I was a little taken back that the husband let his wife watch porn. Oh, can I even say porn on the internet? On YouTube? Oops. As if he'd read my mind, he smiled and said, "She'd always picks out your movies. You're her favorite." Back then, I was still new to the industry. I hadn't thought about couples watching porn together. I thought only single men were the audience for my movies. I'd even thought that wives wouldn't want their husbands watching other people have sex. This couple seemed so normal and happy. Meeting them gave me a better understanding of how porn can relate to couples and that it had a far wider audience than I thought. Great sex. Since my early teens, I've had sex and what it means to other people on my mind. But I wouldn't know about great sex until many years later. Sex satisfies a need. Great sex satisfies the soul, can bring a new element to an old relationship, and pull you and your partner closer. Sex in a relationship is a happy necessity. For the woman, it creates a bond with her man that strengthens the love between them. For the man, it boosts his confidence, improves his boldness in the bedroom, and expresses his affection and appreciation for his woman. Also has a lot of health benefits too that we're discovering these days. That's my own little side note. Intimacy is key when striving for a healthy sexual bond that will withstand the tough times. It's important to find time to appreciate each other and to express the love and attraction you have for each other. There's a great saying, whatever you did to get her, continue to do to keep her. This not only applies to men, but to women as well. It should be a welcome challenge to continue to find ways to impress the person you love. Great sex isn't easy when you're distant, distracted, and exhausted. It takes passion, time, inspiration, and that can sometimes be hard to come by. Leave the problems of the world outside your door and spend quality time with the one you love. Me time is great, but you need our time as well. It's helpful to keep a mental checklist of your lover's likes and dislikes. This way you always know what they like and can give it to them whenever they need it. Does he or she like hot baths, flowers, foot rubs, blowjobs in the car, doing it in public, or cuddling on the couch? Respecting and taking care of your partner's needs is a necessary step toward deeper, meaningful, great sex. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. As noted in the well-known book, men and women are different, emotionally and sexually, but I don't think we're so different that we're from separate planets, even though our differences sometimes make it feel that way, and in no place is that difference greater than in the bedroom. For most men, satisfying sex is all about getting hard and coming, while most women crave feelings of closeness and tenderness just as much as sexual excitement. Often it's very easy and common for a man to have satisfying sex without meeting his lover's needs of closeness and intimacy. What we want from each other is a good way to gauge what we're able to give. Men want comfort, caring, empathy, and company. Women want caring, closeness, and intimacy. The woman a man chooses has to take into account who he is as a person and be able to support and nurture his potential. The man a woman chooses has to take into account who she is as a person and be a caring, sexually attentive man can she talk to. Why did I feel like I misread that? The man a woman chooses has to take into account who she is as a person. Oh, okay, now I remember. And be a caring, sexually attentive man she can talk to who is also able to satisfy her needs. Learn to communicate. Learn to listen. Sex versus intimacy. Instant gratification. What is intimacy? What is love? Making time for sex. Quickies. Sex before dinner. Makeout sessions. Sex nights. Staying in for the weekend. Tips for parents. I'll read that tips for parents part. I'm a working dad. I know that couples who not only work but are parents too have double the problems when it comes to romance. But you really need all the close and loving contact you can get from your mate. Cultivate babysitting relatives and great. Okay. Grandparents are a great source of loving help, but childless aunts and uncles generally long to play part-time parent. They're often so happy to have children around that's blah 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 blah. Also, keep in mind that kids love sleepovers and they can really give your relationship a boost. So get together with the parents of all your child's friends and set up some sleepovers for your 10-year-olds and older. Of course, you'll have to take your turn at being the host family and finding space for half a dozen kids in their sleeping bags. But this is a small price to pay for the freedom you get on the occasions when your kids are the guests. Solid advice from a porn star dad. Yeah, I was about to read that whole chapter, but then I was like, nah, that's taking too long. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Marcus vicariously through me? I'll give you a couple seconds and then we'll get into the essentials of philosophy. The basic concepts of the world's greatest thinkers. Show. Miss Jones says, why do people look down on streetwalkers but not porn stars when they do the exact... Yo, that's such a good point. I remember George Carlin had a great stand-up piece about that. How the only reason why the government essentially looks down on streetwalkers is because the government isn't taxing the streetwalkers, but they can tax film stars. So that's what separates it. But yeah, great observation. Did I ever make a flick? Not that I know of. There are snippets that exist on devices in maybe 2 places, but not like a whole movie. But maybe one day, just to document it for myself. We'll see what happens. What about you, Miss Jones? You got a flick out there? Well, not out there, but in one of your devices? Miss Jones, you wild. That's what's up. Good for you. I think maybe not. Maybe it's not for everybody, but I think it could serve many people to be able to like see themselves in the act and like really see what they look like, because you don't know unless you watch yourself in the mirror. Some people freaky leaks like that where they got the mirror on the ceiling, or like, you know, they got the mirror on the dresser, which sits right across from the bed or adjacent to the bed, so you could kind of watch yourself. Um, but yeah, for me, the mirror is really helpful too. I love it. All right, so essentials of philosophy. The guy who wrote this book, James Manion, actually met him. He's from the Bronx, and he inspired me to get this book. I've always been a deep lover of philosophy, and this book talks about all the greats. And I'll read you a piece of it. If you've always wanted to learn about philosophy but were too intimidated to get past the first word ending in ism, Essentials of Philosophy provides simple and clear explanations of all the major philosophic ideas and concepts. This entertaining but authoritative book offers a broad overview of many diverse schools of thought from antiquity up to the present day. In plain English, author James Mannion explains all of the world's great philosophies and even provides contemporary examples to help put them in perspective. Interspersed throughout the text are fascinating sidebars that offer helpful hints toward understanding complex concepts, from Occam's razor to Kant's claim that perception is reality, and also provide little known facts about the lives of great philosophers such as Socrates and Descartes. Descartes. I always pronounce this wrong. Descartes. Endlessly fascinating, not to mention always clear and concise. Essentials of Philosophy will be welcomed by anyone who wants to broaden his or her outlook on life. All right, so I'm just going to flip to a random page. It's not really going to help anybody, but maybe. Does anybody have a favorite philosopher? That'll help me narrow it down. I'll read you the table of contents. Jose, what's good? Welcome to the chat. The book is called Essentials of Philosophy by James Mannion. Oh, Walter Russell is one of my favorites, but I don't know if he's in here. I don't know if he made the book. Let me see. I don't know if because Walter Russell was fringe to a lot of I guess industry people, and I'd be surprised if he made it here. Bertrand Russell is in here. Man. Yeah, I don't think Walter Russell made it. Of course Jung is in there. I mean, what would this book be with it? What would philosophy, period, be without Jung? You gotta have Jung in there. Let's go for extra credit. Carl Gustav Jung was a philosopher of which category? I think that's the right question I'm trying to ask. What category of philosophy was Jung so famous for articulating? Manly P. Hall is another good one. Oh, he's probably not in this book either. Mini Bike Racing says, I'm at a 225 body count. Clean, thank God. All right, that's what's up. You beating the odds. Damn, y'all got all of the philosophers that are not in this book. Neville Goddard is another one of my favorite. All right, I'm gonna just pick one. Oh wait, he has a who's who in philosophy. Let's see what he wrote. Piaget. I don't know about that Piaget. Nietzsche. Well, probably my favorite. Yeah, none of our guys made it into this book. Ah, now I'm mad at James. I wouldn't know about those guys till I got older anyway. If I was to read about Jung, it would be. Oh man. I guess it would be about a 3-page read until we got to John Wedson. Sigmund Freud. Blech. Fuck Sigmund. Sigmund was cool, but he was a dope. Norman Vincent Peale or Biale. I don't even know how to say it right. I never heard of him. Joseph Murphy. I never heard of him either. All right, let's talk about Jung. So, Carl Gustav Jung is the most famous follower of Sigmund Freud. Jung's used Jung used Freud's psychoanalytic techniques in his medical practice, and both men agreed on the significant role played by the unconscious. Freud was fond of Jung and began to see him as his heir apparent, the successor who would carry on the Freudian school of thought. But then there was a parting of ways. Eventually, Jung and Freud had an acrimonious split about the nature of the unconscious. Jung veered away from the emphasis of sexual forces being the driving factors that could explain every action and motivation. Not thinking and acting as objective men of science, each felt betrayed. And the split led not only to the end of the friendship and professional rapport, but it was instrumental in bringing about Jung's being shunned as a pariah by his fellows. Oh, I didn't even know that. Jung took a radical sabbatical wherein he indulged in the unheard of practice of self-analysis. He chronicled this in his memoir, Memories, Dreams, Reflections, and called it a confrontation with the unconscious. Jungian theories and the Jungian school of thought were the result of this inward journey, and his ideas are a major contribution to psychology, transcending it to embrace the world of mythology, folklore, astrology, Eastern spirituality, and alchemy. It's no surprise that Jung is quite fashionable in New Age circles given the mystical nature of his latter writings. He is also, I should say later writings, he is also deeply criticized in other circles for his failure to denounce the rise of Hitler and the Nazis in Germany in the 1930s. He ultimately did so, but many feel it was too little and too late. The collective unconscious. While Freud was fond of the iceberg analogy to explain the unconscious part of our mind and personality being the 90% of the glacier that is below the surface, Jung made a comparison of a cork gently bobbing on a vast ocean. The cork is our conscious mind, and the ocean is the unconscious. Wow. The cork is tossed about the whim of the cruel sea we get unless we get a handle of the nature of the true self, of which we are only dimly aware, if at all, via the psychotherapeutic process he called analytical psychology. The best modern example of the hero's journey is the first Star Wars trilogy. George Lucas has acknowledged that Campbell was a big influence on him in his writing. One of the possible reasons for the enormous success of Star Wars is that it taps directly into the collective unconscious and appeals to the people on an archetypal unconscious level. That's very important right there. Whenever you write something, if you can tap into the unconscious and appeal to people on an archetypal unconscious level, that separates the greats from the good, which is another reason why my man Masashi Kishimoto is one of the best to ever do it. Jung's most famous theory is that the collective unconscious a shared memory of symbols, imagery, and memories that he calls archetypes. These harken back to the dawn of human consciousness and are common in all cultures and civilizations. The famous mythographer Joseph Campbell supports this theory in his work The Hero with a Thousand Faces by cataloging and cross-referencing myths from a broad spectrum of cultures and time frames. He came up with the notion of the monomyth. There is basically one story with the same cast of archetypes that Campbell called the hero's journey. Jung's encountered a wide array of archetypes in his journey within. For many of his contemporaries, this bordered on fantasy. Men of science found the idea of mythical energies springing forth from a primordial reservoir and dwelling within every human a little too poetic a principle. Gender bending. Jung also proposed that within every man there is an inner woman, and within every woman there is an inner man, a feminine and masculine energy, actually, which he labeled the anima, inner woman, and animus, inner man. He felt that you had to embrace that side of yourself and own it in order to have optimum mental health. If the anima or animus was too powerful or too passive, you were prone to psychological problems. This is similar to Plato's notion on love that proposes that humans were once a large androgynous blob-like creature embodying both genders. These creatures were split by the gods into men and women, and that is why each seeks out their counterpart to find balance in the other half of them that was long lost. Jung believed that this struggle goes on within each person whether we know it or not. Are you a different person in public than you are alone? Of course you are. The self that you show the public is what Jung called the persona. It is both revealing and concealing. We act differently with our boss than we do with our sweetheart. We're different with one friend than we are with another. This theory is often criticized these days, and Jung is accused of some politically incorrect gender stereotyping. He suggests a man with the dominant anima was an over-emotional whiner, and the woman with the powerful animus was overbearingly bossy and obnoxious. And the cliche of a man trying to embrace his feminine side has become fodder for stand-up comics and sitcom writers. The shadow. Jung has his own variation on Freud's theory of the ego, superego, and id. Like Freud, Jung's definition of ego is the conscious part of the mind. The ego is that cork bobbing on the ocean, and its goal is to seek what Jung called individuation, bringing together all the myriad elements of the human psyche into oneself. Psyche into oneself. Fully individuated individuals were the model of sound psychological wholeness. Jung called his equivalent of the id and superego combined the shadow. The shadow is, in simple terms, a person's dark side, the impulses and desires and traits that remain beneath the surface after years of parental and societal pressure. Jung felt that people have a tendency to project those negative shadow elements on people that we dislike. Do you remember the Star Trek episode where Captain Kirk was split in two because of a transporter accident? His good half is his gentle and passive. His bad self is lustful and aggressive. The evil Kirk is a pop culture representation of Freud's theory of the id and Carl Jung's shadow. Think about it. Have you ever had an immediate dislike for someone for no apparent reason? And after time, if you're honest with yourself, you realize that you saw aspects of yourself in that person, just as you can see your own soul reflected back at you through your beloved's eyes. You can see your shadow in the obnoxious neighbor or coworker. Jung felt that the objective was to own our shadow and not try to bury it. Burying it never works. The shadow will be heard usually when you least expect it. Everyone has aspects of himself or herself that they're not proud of. Jung believed that we must own it and integrate it on the path to wholeness. All right, and that is our excerpt from The Essentials of Philosophy by Carl Gustav Jung. Shout out to all of you for being here right now in the chat, listening to me ramble on about the books that I like so much. We're gonna end the night with reading from the Unsolved Mysteries book that I have because I love a good unsolved mystery. Let's see if they break these into categories. Mysterious origins or endings, unsolved murders, evasive creatures, uncharted, unexplored, and unknown urban legends, cursings, and clandestine traditions, enigmatic people and cultures, unexplained phenomena. Anybody have any requests? Oh, I just randomly flipped to Ohio's greatest unsolved mystery. And it's about the tattoo man, Elliot Ness, and more victims. And I always thought Elliot Ness was throwback jerseys. Or is that Mitchell and Ness? That's Mitchell and Ness. Ah, yeah, okay. Who's the author of this one? The Mysterious Unsolved? The Unsolved Mysteries? The author is... Oh, damn. Where is the author's name? Oh, it's written by a whole gang of people. Pretty much all of these people this is written by. It's an amalgamation book. Printed in 2019. All right, I'm gonna just pick one because I'm just getting caught reading some of these shits. These shits is weird. All right. Let's read about the Kecksburg incident. Did visitors from the outer space once land in a western Pennsylvania thicket? Oh, I gotta read it like the Unsolved Mysteries guys. Let me get my Unsolved Mystery voice on. Did visitors from outer space once land in a western Pennsylvania thicket? Dropping in for a visit. On December 9th, 1965, an unidentified flying object streaked through the late afternoon sky and landed in Kecksburg, a rural Pennsylvania community about 40 miles southeast of Pittsburgh. This much is not disputed. However, specific accounts vary wildly from person to person. Even after closely examining the facts, many people remain undecided about exactly what happened. Roswell-type incidents, ultra mysterious in nature and reeking of a government cover-up, have an uncanny way of causing confusion. Trajectory interruptus. A meteor on a collision course with Earth will generally bounce as it enters the atmosphere. This occurs due to friction, which forcibly slows the average space rock from 6 to 45 miles per second to a few hundred miles per hour. The speed at which it strikes Earth and officially becomes a meteorite. According to the official explanation offered by the U.S. Air Force, it was a meteorite that landed in Kecksburg. However, witnesses reported that the object completed back and forth maneuvers before landing at a very low speed. Moves that an unpowered chunk of earthbound rock simply cannot perform. Strike one against the meteor theory. An acorn-shaped meteorite. When a meteor manages to pierce Earth's atmosphere, it has the physical properties of exactly what it is, a space rock. That is to say, it will generally be unevenly shaped, rough, and darkish in color, much like rocks found on Earth. But at Kecksburg, eyewitnesses reported seeing something far, far different. The unusual object they described was bronze to golden in color, acorn shaped, and as large as a Volkswagen Beetle automobile. Unless the universe has started to produce uniformly shaped and colored meteorites, the unofficial explanation seems highly unlikely. Strike two for the meteor theory. Zaya was good. Oh no, Shia was good. Long time no see. Happy New Year. Markedly different. Then there's a baffling issue of markings. A meteorite can be chock full of holes, cracks, and other such surface imperfection. It can also vary somewhat in color, but it should never, ever have markings that seem intelligently designed. Witnesses at Kecksburg described intricate writing similar to Egyptian hieroglyphs located near the base of the object. A cursory examination of space rocks at any natural history museum reveals that such a thing doesn't occur naturally. Strike three for the meteor theory. Logically, following such a trail could be an unnatural force. Could an unnatural force have been responsible for the item witnessed at Kecksburg? At least one man thought so. Reportus rigamortis? Just after the Kecksburg UFO landed, reporter John Murphy arrived at the scene. Like any seasoned pro, the newsman immediately snapped photos and gathered eyewitness accounts of the event. Strangely, FBI agents arrived, cordoned off the area, and confiscated all but one roll of his film. Undaunted, Murphy assembled a radio documentary entitled Object in the Woods to describe his experience. Just before the special was to air, the reporter received an unexpected visit by two men. According to a fellow employee, a dark-suited pair identified themselves as government agents and subsequently confiscated a portion of Murphy's audio tapes. A week later, a clearly perturbed Murphy aired a watered-down version of his documentary. In it, he claimed that certain interviewees requested their accounts be removed for fear of retribution at the hands of police, military, and government officials. In 1969, John Murphy was struck dead by an unidentified car while crossing the street. Resurrected by Robert Stack. In all likelihood, the Kecksburg incident would have remained dormant and underexplored had it not been for the television show Unsolved Mysteries. Wow, look at that. In a 1990 segment, narrator Robert Stack took an in-depth look at what occurred at Kecksburg, feeding a firestorm of interest that eventually brought forth two new witnesses. The first, a U.S. Air Force officer stationed at Lockbourne AFB near Columbus, Ohio, claimed to have seen a flatbed truck carrying a mysterious object as it arrived on base on December 10, 1965. The military man told of a tarpaulin-covered conical object that he couldn't identify and a shoot-to-kill order given to him for anyone who ventured too close. He was told that the truck was bound for Wright-Patterson AFB in Dayton, Ohio, an installation that's alleged to contain down-flying saucers. The other witness was a building contractor who claimed to have delivered 6,500 special bricks to a hangar inside Wright-Patterson Air Force Base on December 12, 1965. Curious, he peeked inside the hangar and saw a bell-shaped device, 12 feet high, surrounded by several men wearing anti-radiation style suits. Upon leaving, he was told that he had just witnessed an object that would become common knowledge in the next 20 years. Will we ever know the truth? Like Roswell before it, we will probably never know for certain what occurred in western Pennsylvania back in 1965. The more that's learned about the case, the more confusing and contradictory it becomes. For instance, the official 1965 meteorite explanation contains more holes than Bonnie and Clyde's death car. And the other explanations, such as orbiting space debris from past US and Russian missions, re entering Earth's atmosphere, seem equally preposterous. In 2005, as a result of a new investigation launched by the Sci Fi television network, NASA asserted that the object was a Russian satellite. According to a NASA spokesperson, documents of this investigation were somehow misplaced in the 1990s. Mysteriously, this finding directly contradicts the official Air Force version that nothing at all was found at the Kecksburg site. It also runs counter to a 2003 report made by NASA's own Nicholas L. Johnson, chief scientist for orbital debris. That document shows no missing satellites at the time of the incident. This includes a missing Russian Venus probe, since accounted for. The very item that was once considered a prime crash candidate. A brave new world. These days, visitors to Kecksburg will be hard-pressed to find any trace of the encounter. Perhaps that's how it should be, since speculation comes to an abrupt halt whenever a concrete answer is provided. Kecksburg's reputation as the Roswell of the East looks secure, at least for the foreseeable future. But if one longs for proof that something mysterious occurred there, they need look no further than the backyard of the Kecksburg Volunteer Fire Department. There, in all of its acorn-shaped glory, stands a full-scale mock-up of the spacecraft reportedly found in this peaceful town on December 9th, 1965. There too rests the mystery, intrigue, and romance that have accompanied this alleged space traveler for more than 40 years. Wow. So it's actually been exactly like 60 years since this happened. How ironic. All right, that's all the random readings I have for you all today. Thank you for joining the chat. Thank you for jumping in on the live and sharing your beautiful presence with me in all of the chats. Let's see what we got. Shia, thank you for that New Year's Eve gift. Love you. Left-handed 2058 says, I recommend doing a deep dive into the Book of Enoch. It will explain all of the space stuff and fallen angel technology. Shout out to you for knowing about the Book of Enoch, fam. Whoa! Who just sent a good 49? Shia, yo, thank you for that. Yo, love you. Love you. Love that. Thank you for joining me and blessing me with that. It's all love every day. Yay, yay. Yeah, but the Book of Enoch, man, that's it's definitely on my reading list. I haven't read much of it. I've been reading pieces of it since like the early 2000s. And it is very special, man. Enoch is actually an amalgamation of numerous books written from the year 400 BC up until about 50 to 100 years after 33 AD, which is when allegedly Christ died. So it's a very powerful set of texts, and within it, the Nephilim and Seraphim and, you know, angels and demons and stuff like that are a highlight of that book. And it's very interesting to me that, you know, this stuff has been talked about for 3,000 years. And yet in the year 2026, we still don't really have any straight answers. What the heck, man? But thank you for suggesting the Book of Enoch. Left-handed. Bohemian Goddess was good. Big hugs to you. Big hugs to you. Shia, thank you again for that beautiful gift. I hope you're enjoying your new year, my friend. All the love, peace, joy, and happiness. I've been on here for an hour and 4 minutes. Let's try to keep it going till hour 10. And let's see what we got, man. Let's see what we got. Anybody got anything to talk about? Do I have anything to talk about? What's big in the news? Somalian daycare is big in the news. I don't know much about it, but I keep seeing headlines. Apparently, there's a Somalian daycare crime ring happening in Minnesota. What the fuck? Another thing that's popular is the mayor or governor of New York. I forget. His last name is Mamdani. I know he can speak. I know he can speak Arabic or maybe Pakistani. I saw an interview where he was talking to this Pakistani mom. It was pretty touching. He sounds like a real cool dude. I hope that he delivers on all his promises. I hope that he's the real deal. New York needs a break, man. The world needs a break, though. I think government in general, if we're going to continue with the silly idea of government and having representatives, then we need to see more of that cloth, more of that elk, more of that temperature of a human being in those positions. So shout out to New York and Mamdani. I hope New Yorkers get nothing but benefit from that, especially the working class people, and less of the stupid rich people. Which is a cool thing that I heard he was gonna do. He was gonna tax all the billionaires, like he's gonna give them their own special tax, which should be done. There's no room in an ethical society for billionaires. So yeah, I hope that all goes well. Actually, it made me miss New York a lot and wish that I was there for that. But in the future, who's to say that I won't be there living exactly where I always wanted to, the Lower East Side, maybe Chelsea, maybe Soho, maybe Meatpacking, you know, on that side of the Manhattan Island. Or I could definitely live in Brooklyn. I could definitely live in like the Long Island City area of Queens. It's coming to me. It's coming to me easily. It's coming to me. It's coming to me in abundance. Yes, I affirm it. Yeah, New York is very different these days. Hollywood and the American dream was sold to us, but does it really matter? That is a great topic, Unseen. The American dream, you have to be asleep to believe it, as my man George Carlin says. I think it does matter in a way because America is the last country to be established and it's always been an experiment, a huge project. And if the dream dies, man, it's a sad outlook for the world. Although I will go as far as saying that me personally, I can't speak for everybody. I feel like I'm very ignorant to the the standard of living or the quality of living other countries have. New York, America always wants to be like number one in economy and number one in this and that and this, but there's so many countries who are like 15 and 20th that have universal health care, that they have high rates of mortality, high rates of mortality, right? I think that's what I'm saying. You know, big people live a lot longer in these fucking countries is what I'm trying to say. The wealth disparity isn't as huge as it is in this country. So, yeah, America is the dream of being able to go from nothing to something. I think we can agree that is the dream, the American dream, but it happens, but it's far too rare and it's far too difficult. And I think it really is kind of like at this point unattainable for the average person. Whereas it should be super fucking simple. We have one of the largest gross domestic productions domestically, meaning we produce just as much amount of goods as any other country in the world, but the quality of life here is fucking trash. And I think we all can agree to that, unless you're one of those lucky few people who make more than $250,000 a year, and you're sitting pretty, you know, you're sitting pretty nicely right now with that amount of cash on you. that amount of assets, especially if you could live within your means. That's another thing we don't do here in America is live within our means. I think we are consumer heavy culture, and it's all about material here. Not to say that for anybody here in this fucking chat, because I think we all know better, but most of the people, yeah. What else? What else? What else? Is the dream life actually worth it? I mean, my dream life, I feel like it's worth it. What about you? What's your dream, Unseen? What's your dream life? Domino, you want attention. If a dream is just a dream, you will wake up, right? And realize it was just a dream. But dreams don't have to be fictitious. You know, dreams could be something that's obtainable. Doesn't have to be only in the astral realm. Okay, I think we dream about things that we want in real life. I've dreamt about things that I've wanted and had in real life. But I'm interested to know what is your ideal dream life, Unseen? Razia, what's good? Welcome to the chat. How's that baby? I was watching your story today. He's so cute. He's getting big so fast. Yo, facts. You said that. Nurses prescribing pills for a cough and cold instead of just some regular old celery juice and honey and garlic and oregano oil. Like, come on, let's get it together. She says it grinds my gears. Coming from a different country, I see both sides. Miss Jones, I thought you was from America. Where you from? You from the Caribbean? I'm seeing, you know what I mean. I'm not saying that life altogether is trash. I mean, just the culture in America is trash. The way I feel like maybe not the majority, but a good size of the country doesn't really treat their contemporaries with a decent amount of respect that you would think just comes naturally to most people. I think we're very aggressive towards each other, if not aggressive, passive aggressive, or apathetic towards one another. I think the empathy is rare in our culture, but that's just me. All right, Unseen, but like to give me the specifics. Yeah, I know your dream life is to live, but when you say live like how? Like what is a day in the life look like for the dream life of Unseen? Oh, Miss Jones, why fuck why I forgot you're from the yard. Ah, that's what's up. Right. Mrs. Clayton, I'm right there with you. The dream is to make enough to take care of my family and friends and be able to give without thought. Facts. I feel like dreams are often tied to finance. And if we're talking about manifestation, then how would we reconcile that? You basically transform it or transmute it from a dream that is not yet obtained to one that you are already you transmute that into a dream that you're already living. And I think you already do live that, Mrs. Clayton. You've shown the love to me personally, so I can say personally that you've done that. So um I don't think your dream is a sleeping dream. I think your dream is a living dream, Mrs. Clayton. You got this. You already there. Okay, yeah, I like that. I like the specifics. I'm right there with you. A day should be that easy. It should be as easy as waking up whenever you feel like waking up, having time to take care of yourself with no pressure, you know? do some meditations, do some mantras with the mudras, then connect with your people when your cup is full so you can pour into them. Go back to taking care of yourself, chill out for the rest of the day, and get some good rest. That's life right there. I didn't hear you talking about clocking in nowhere though, unseen. So I think part of your dream too, would you say part of your dream is to not have to clock in anywhere? You had it out at 9. Where you going, Mrs. Jones? Where you going? Without the street lights is out. Street lights is out. You ain't supposed to be outside. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Facts. Facts, Aronies. Mr. Jones, the girls is doing fantastic, wonderful. Although I am a little perturbed because I didn't talk to them today. I sent a message and got left on red. So, that being said, KL was good. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, the girls are doing great, man. Aura's so freaking smart. When I brought both of them down here for the Christmas break, Aura got to help me for the first time. Like, she was very interested in Google Maps and like looking at where we were going, noticing all the railroad tracks that we were crossing, the gas stations, pointing out the different exits and stuff like that. Like, she was very into the Google Maps, and that just warmed my heart because our baby girl is like literally growing up where she can help me. Like, I could be in the car with her and be like, yo, could you pull up this on the map? Her spelling is so good. Like, she's getting the art of sounding out a word and being able to spell it just from isolating the sounds. And to see that is, I mean, like, it's magical as a dad to be able to witness this. And I feel for my mom because my mom didn't get to witness that with me. So like, I feel like she is like sitting on my eyeballs watching my daughter, her granddaughter, grow in such a way. And she's so mature now. Like, her jokes are, they hit. Her jokes just hit like on a real level. And she's very funny. She has me cracking up all day. I can't specifically tell you any jokes that she told me, but she's very natural with it. It's not like punchline jokes. It's just like things that she says. She knows that'll make her dad laugh, and she likes to make her dad laugh. And Lumi is also very much a comedian. She'll try to get you to laugh whenever she can. Like, even if she like tries to tickle you. And I think that that's very dope for a 22-month-old. Lumi knows how to read and identify and read numbers. And she's only 22 months old. She can count up to about 16. Her 16 and 17 gets a little shaky when she gets to the teens, but from 1 to 15, she has down pat, and she does it constantly. Like, that's one thing I used to do with her is like, whenever I was carrying her and I would get tired, to like boost my energy when I was carrying her and being tired, I would always count my steps. I would go 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think because of that, she learned how to count very well. I'm not going to give myself all the credit, but I am going to give myself some credit because I definitely think she Not only she learns from her sister and watching her sister learn, but you know, my presence is very teaching, I will say. I turned everything into a teaching moment. And she's thriving because of it. Thank you for asking, Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones. Happy New Year, Bay Area. You are helping people live out their dreams, Mrs. Clayton. That's a fact. Yeah, yo, another thing that I got to see, I think that I get to brag about a little because I've never seen it. I can only speak for me. I can't really speak for her mom. But Aura's always been very reluctant to put her head under the shower. Like she does not wash her hair. And if you washing her hair has to be an event that's like set up in advance. Like you have to literally make an appointment with her. You have to be like, yo, this Saturday when we have time, we're gonna wash her hair. We got like this whole like mat with a bar that like hangs over the mat that has like a holster for the phone so she could like watch the screen while she's getting her hair done and like her hair falls into the sink and like you wash it with like the spray nozzle or whatever. But for the first time over this past week, we came back from the beach and I was telling her, I was like, yo, girl, you got mad sand in your hair. And I would love if you washed it. Not even saying that I washed it, but like I told her I would love if you washed it. And she actually did it. Like she let me coach her a little bit. I told her to like turn around to the shower and like lean her head back so she'd only get like the back part of her head first. And she did it, and I was so proud of her. She took it like she did like a fucking G. And then that night, I was like, yo, I don't have a hair dryer or like a bonnet for you to like do your hair up good. So wear this do rag, put the do rag on, and that way your hair won't get so messed up tonight because it's all wet, or whatever. And she wore the do rag, and watching her with it, she was like so proud to wear the do rag. I felt like I was putting a crown on her head, like wrapping it around her head. She was just sitting there like, yeah, I'm a thug now, and like I was like, yeah, you a gangster, baby. So that was dope. Um, those two things were definitely a highlight. Like watching her do the Google Maps, watching her do her hair. She also doesn't like tantrum easy anymore. I think watching her little sister tantrum out has like shown her that like yo, it's a little bit it's a little unnecessary to do that for no reason. So she definitely implores her breathing techniques. I can see her when she's starting to get upset or like when she feel like she's about to spaz, she'll definitely go into like a little piece of deep breathing. And that's so dope to watch for a 5-year-old. I'm like, wow, look at her, man. I wish somebody would have taught me that shit when I was 5. That's right. You already know, Mrs. Clayton. Those little things are huge moments, yo. Cause now, she'll get to a spot where she could do her hair on a daily basis now. Like her own hair, you know? I got her to start putting witch hazel on her face, moisturizer on her face. I was like, yo, look at my girl doing her own self-care routine. And what else? Yeah, she's just a big girl, man. For 5. It's gonna be dope watching those little ones, those mini me's get big and be funny as hell. I can't. I look forward to like laughing my ass off with and at them. Thank you, Mrs. Clayton. Yeah, family. You already know how family is, man. Family. It's a trial. It's a journey, but it's so worth it. If anything else in this world is worth it, family is. You already know. All right, boom. So we've been live for an hour and 25 minutes. Thank you all for joining me. I want to shout out Mrs. Clayton, Mrs. Jones, if you're still with me, Bohemian Goddess. Thank you for moderating. Love you, sis. Bay Area, thank you for coming through. Shia, thank you for that. Ooh, thank you for that gift. Golly, I love it. Razia, thank you for joining us. Shout out to you and your mini. Who else? Who else? Who else? Looks like that's it for the fam. Oh yeah, Olu is here. Olu jumped in. Shout out to you, Olu. Left-handed, thank you for the Enoch recommendation. Who else? Go into an abandoned house and treat it like it was mine. 1 hour, $25. Oh boy. Mary 007. Shout out to you for coming through. Jose. Shout out to you for coming through. Oh man, Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones be having me crack it up. Alright, I think that's it. Oh, Smart Savvy. Smart Savvy. I don't know if I definitely double back, but thank you, Smart Savvy, for joining us. All love. To the one of us who is many, we come to you in total awareness. Grant my friends peace, progress, prosperity, pleasure, panacea, persuasion, and the eternal present. Amen, amen, ashe, aho, and like alakin. Ah. Alright, I'm gonna catch y'all in a couple days. You already know, 7:30ish, something like that. If you got any topics you want me to touch, send me a message on the Instagram, iNero. You can email me, inero@gmail.com. If you think I was crazy for saying anything that I said today, definitely send me a message. Let me know. What else? Yeah, consider subscribing if you haven't subscribed yet. The vlog, I have reignited the editing on the latest vlog. It's a vlog that covers late September all the way up until now, January. So that's what, 3, 4, it's like 4 months of footage in one vlog. Hopefully, like, cross your fingers, pray for me that I'm able to fucking create some type of an ill storyline behind it. You know what I mean? KL, thank you, KL. Shout out to you for joining us. Conscious Butte. Yeah. And yeah, I'm gonna end it on that. On that note, love y'all. See you in a couple of days. You heard? Till then, stay hydrated, stay nourished. Remember that money flows to you easily and abundantly. Huh? Whenever I say huh, I always think of Dick Gregory. That's my man. Dick Gregory always just be like, and you know, you got to be clean in the world, huh? That's my man, Dick Gregory. All right, y'all. Peace.